Hi, I'm Kim,
I'm Torra.
and this is our podcast, Kicking It with Kimm and Torra. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Today, as always, we have four topics, 15 minutes each, and we're going to get right to it. Our first topic is the current trend that we've seen of CPS, police, security, whatever they are, taking people's babies away.
My thing is this: what make I understand CPS has to have a stand in this world. I When they get it right, God bless them. But lately, they literally have not been, in my book, haven't been getting it right. They are leaving kids in toxic homes where, like I said, a couple weeks ago, there was this aunt and a mother who had literally killed this lady's grandchildren. And she was so mad. She said, "I love my daughters, but right now I hope they both burn in hell." She literally said that about her daughter and
Her daughters killed her grandchildren, killed their own
yeah.
children.
And she said that she had fought to have them. She fought tooth and nail. They used to live with her, and somehow the mother got them back and lost them, and then the aunt got them, and then the aunt killed them, put them in the trunk, and was driving around with them in the
In
trunk.
Baltimore and
Yeah,
got pulled over.
and
And
got
the
pulled over.
officer Smith, I wasn't connecting that. I was getting ready to mention that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so
Wow.
CPS was all the way involved from the beginning to the end. They got it wrong. So my thing is this: in that instance, they got it wrong. In this instance, where they're just going into hospitals for mothers who don't want their kids vaccinated, or they feel like they're leaving. Some women don't even want to be in the hospitals after giving birth. They just want to go home and take their kids home, and they're snatching their babies out of their arm.
Well, the thing is, back in the day, you used to be in the hospital for 3, 4 days or
Mhm.
whatever. But when I had my last child, which was 18 years ago, they kick you out the next day.
Now, see,
So what's the
because
problem?
of that, that's why I never left. With all three of mine, my son was a little different. He was premature, so I was there a month. But with the other two, I stayed 5 days. And when they tried to kick me out in 3 days, I said, "Let me tell you something. My insurance is paying your bills and everybody else's who come in this room. You all aren't paying for me for one thing. Not one thing." I said, "So my insurance told me I'm covered for 5 days. I'm going to stay my 5 days." So one lady who happened to be a black woman, she says, "Well, man, we want to hurry up and try to turn this room over because we have other people that need it." I said, "No one needs it more than the person who's sitting here. So may you leave out and just send somebody else in that will, that I don't have to deal with that, because I just had a beautiful life created and I don't want you ruining it for me." So she left, and we got another nurse who was fabulous. And she definitely said, "You're right. You stay as long as you want to stay. As long as your insurance is paying and you all are paying this bill, you stay as long as you want." Because what people don't know is your insurance already paid the money for that room. So if you leave early, they don't reimburse your insurance company. It looks like you left because you wanted to leave. And a lot of people don't know that.
And
I stayed my full 5 days.
for me, I don't like medical intervention.
Mhm.
So I want to leave the hospital.
A lot
Give
of
me my
people do.
baby and we're out. But I do understand that everybody doesn't have that perspective. So
No. And let me tell you, I know a young girl a couple of years back who literally was in the hospital, gave birth. She was out the next day. She went to, I believe it was a Target, to buy some baby stuff. She left the baby in the car with the dad, and the dad is sitting there wondering what is taking her so long. He sees the ambulance, he sees the fire truck pull up.
you
They're
guys,
walking around the store looking for, who could be with her or anything. So he literally goes in because he gets a feeling something isn't right. And sure enough, she's dead in there. She had an
gotta have
embolism.
some common sense. I mean, you don't leave the hospital and go to Target. Now, I said the day after, as you're indicating, it might be 2 or 3 days. It just was quick. It was quick. We were in, we were out, and I was fine with that. But I went myself home, the
Mhm.
baby and I, to the bedroom. And if I needed something, my husband went and got that. Because, first of all, I don't even feel like walking. And I had no cesareans or anything. I don't want to walk. I don't want to cook. I just want to lay up here. Hey, I need some food. Bring the baby. I'm not going to Target the day after I get out the
No,
hospital.
absolutely
You
not.
have
And
to
she
have
was
some
a
common
young
sense.
girl, very young girl. I mean, she couldn't have been more than maybe 20, 20 some years old, maybe. And the father, had to raise that kid all by itself because the mother literally, and I always blame that for leaving the hospitals too soon. I
You know
really,
what? I can't help but wonder as a lawyer if they file suit, because if she was in my life or anybody had come to me and said something, I would have considered filing suit against the hospital, because they ought to know that you need a sufficient amount of time
or where are
or
your
some
orders? Where
instructions
are
or
your
something.
discharge orders? You can absolutely not go walking around. My mother would not let us out the house for 30 days after we gave birth.
It
Literally.
hurts anyway. I don't want to go walking around. I want to
I
sit
didn't
right
either.
here. We have ensuite bathrooms. I want to be right here in this little area. Bring me the phone. Where's the TV remote? That's the one of the few times as a woman that
Yep.
you can just take it off and don't have to do anything. So,
No, unlike my situation, but yeah, that's what it's supposed to
okay, so the thing that, me, I always have like a little different take on it because what I'm not clear on, do you know why they took the baby from the woman in the
Well,
hospital?
I don't know if you heard the statement she made, which was weird to me. She was like, "There's no drugs in my baby system," and there's. So I was like, was this a history of she had other children and those children had drugs in their system, or did they tell her if you have any more kids that CPS will be taking them? Like it was just so, nonchalant the way he snatched the baby out of her arms, and I thought it was really
It was
cruel.
so hurtful. It blew my
I mean,
mind.
it was
It
almost
broke
like
my
kidnapping
heart.
to
I
me.
was like, and then
Mhm.
she's over there like, don't hurt my baby. But the thing that there's this woman I watch and she's been really following it. And she said the evidence showed there's no drugs in the baby system or the mother system. I don't know, like you said, did she just throw that out because that's the only reason she knows them to take a baby?
Right.
Or was there an allegation? But you know me, I'm thinking, what kind of DNA did that baby have? Those people our babies are advanced and people are coming into this earth to do different things. And I just question that. My thing is have your birth at home. I'm never having another baby, but if I ever did, give me a Dwala. Let's do this thing at home. I'm not even
Yeah.
going to the hospital. I'm not
Yeah,
doing it.
my thing is, I mean, which I'll never have any more children in this lifetime, but my kids, and when they are ready to have children, I don't even think I'm going to let them be born in this country, though. I've already said that.
God, where are they going to be born,
I
Tor?
mean, either we have to go to like Africa or South Africa, or we'll go somewhere where they have a great advanced hospital. Colombia is also getting up.
Senegal, I've heard from
Yeah,
people who work in the hospital industry, the Senegal has an advanced
I
system
saw
there
their
as
hospital
well.
too just recently. It
Yeah.
literally, I saw it. It's ginormous. It's beautiful, and it's very modern. And I'm just saying, at this point, I've told my children, I don't know who their husbands are going to be, but you're not having birthday, because I think if they're not born with something wrong with them, they're gonna want to make something wrong with them. If they're
And they're
born
going
with
to
all
want to
the
give them
chromosomes,
injections. They want to give you injections
and I don't want
right
that.
from birth.
Nope.
My thing is, you know me, I'm not going to control what they do, but I highly recommend.
Autism floating around like it's normal to have these babies that are just they that can't really do. I mean, they can do things because they have things to help them, but I'm just saying it's nothing cute about keep having these babies that are not advanced. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
And that are
They're not at their
artistic,
full capacity.
not really all there, not
Right.
doing the things that they really otherwise would do. I don't really control my kids, so I won't say that I'm not going to let them, but I will be strongly encouraging a home birth. I will be finding
Right.
people and sending them to them saying, look, what about this person? What about that
I think
person?
I don't even trust home births anymore, because now they're trying to arrest people for having home births. If something happened to their baby, they're calling it neglect. I mean, it's just so many different things the United States is doing. And I'm just like, no, I don't want any part of that. Not for my grandchildren. I don't want to even deal with that, because I really believe, like when Elon Musk came out and said that he was autistic, I was just like, here we go.
I
This is
don't think
something.
he's autistic. Stop the BS. He's not autistic, is he?
He said he has autism. So if you have
He might
autism,
have Asperger's syndrome, which is all the way at the high end of the scale where you're actually gifted. But I don't
on Saturday
autism.
Night Live, on the last one that they did for the year, he had autism. He announced he was the host, and I was just sitting there going, "Where are we going with this?"
I've been dealing with special education cases for about 16 years. First as a judge, now
Mhm.
as a lawyer. I don't see autism in him. You could see autism in
I agree.
people. I don't
I
see
agree.
it. So
I agree. I think. Yeah, I
that's
mean,
tough.
I agree that I don't believe there's what he said is there. I mean, maybe something is there. I don't know what it is. I mean,
Autism is a scale. And
right.
if it is, he has a very mild touch of it because they don't behave in the way he behaves. But
Right.
I mean, I don't know the man. I've never met him in
Right.
person, but it just
Right.
doesn't seem likely. But I think that America is getting to be too much of a police state. We don't need the level of control that they're trying to impose. If I have my baby at home
Mhm.
and my baby doesn't survive, as long as there's no intentional or negligent killing, then perhaps it was just the fates.
Yeah.
Perhaps
Yeah.
it was destiny.
Well,
I don't need
they
you
won't
coming
let
in
them stand
arresting me.
because of the prison system and all the other things that they got to try to keep making their money off of. So they won't let that just be an accident that happened. SIDS was one thing. Now it's almost like if you say your baby had SIDS, they are really like, well, did you let him cry to sleep and he laid face down? Did he turn over? Did you neglect him? Like it, I've been
I'd
here.
be like, did you give him all those shots in the hospital? Because that's what the SIDS is really coming from.
Absolutely.
So let's look at what the real cause is. I um I think that me, Miss Radical Blackity Black. I think it's time for us to start taking some action.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I think the government is going way too far. When I saw them snatch that lady's baby, I mean, because they were
We
talking.
all as mothers and Black women did not get angry, regardless if she was a bad mother before or a neglectful mother before. In that moment, we're supposed to judge everything by its actions in the moment. By that moment, that man who was a white man snatching that baby out of that woman's
He
arms
just lunged for the baby, like out
and
of
snatched the
nowhere.
car
He
seat.
just no advance warning. But this is the thing. I can't really even have a conversation on the basis that she previously did something because she asked him why. He did not say one word.
Nobody
There's
gave, no one
no
in the hospital,
indication that she's done anything
no
in
one
the
in the
past
hospital gave
or
her a reason.
anything. Hmm?
No one in the hospital, the nurses, doctors, no one gave her a reason.
Nobody. So I don't want to assume that she had done something in the past that they were bringing into the
No,
current
no, that's
because
what
they didn't say now, Miss Such and Such, they didn't say a word. He just
I
lunged for her baby.
told you, that if you have any more children, that they will be taken by CPS immediately.
He said, who said that?
No, no, no. I'm saying they didn't say that. Like if they
Right.
had
Yeah,
said
they
that,
didn't say anything.
no.
So I don't want to
But then
assume
they
that
took
she
it
had
out
done
of a
something.
Black woman's home and put it in a white woman's home. That has got to be, to me, a deprogramming system. Why couldn't they have taken it and give it to the aunt, the uncle, the
No,
grandmother?
why could they not take her baby? Or if they were going to take her baby, they needed to give her a justification. It's not unreasonable to say why. And just because children are involved doesn't mean all your due process rights fly out the window. That whole thing just blew me. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do other than type up some crap on social media and do a duet? I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do?
Until women and men come together who are Black and take a stance and just shut everything down, like I always say, it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse because
I think you're right on that. And I think that, see, for me, like immediate action,
Mhm.
no more hospital births.
Yeah.
No more hospital. I don't care what.
My whole grandmother and mother's generation, my mother said she
Your
was the
mother had
first.
you at home?
My grandmother had my mother. It was her first child in the hospital, but all before that, all her kids were house. They were born in the house.
The day
And
we saw that video, every Black woman should have said, we would not be going back to the hospital for any births. Look, if you're going to take my child in the hospital, I'm going to take my chances at home.
yeah,
Like you're saying, they'll come to your house. Well, come to my house because you
right.
don't know when I'm having birth, what I'm having, any of that. I would not go at all. I mean, if I were
I
of
think the United
childbearing
States
age,
is
I
going
wouldn't go to the hospital. That would be the end of it for me.
I think the United States is going to lose its population of Black people very soon. I really do believe that. And I'm talking about, and I know Hockey was saying, Brazil has a large, I wasn't talking about the Brazilian.
But they're powerless. So nobody's going to be a part of, we're the ones with the power and the resources and the education
Absolutely.
and the international influence. Everybody watches what we do. Let's face
So
it.
that was my point. That was the Black people I was talking about. I believe that it is just going to be one of those things where people are slowly but surely migrating either back to the motherland or to other lands. Because once you
The
step out,
Caribbean, it's been happening, Tori. It's been happening for like about a decade now. It's
but
been happening. When you go over there, there are pockets everywhere. I met so many British people, Black
yeah,
Brits and African Americans, they're everywhere over there. And they're in the countries I didn't go to too. It's in
And
Tanzania,
Mexico. Mexico is
Gambia,
picking up a lot of black.
Mexico. I
Yep,
know a guy whose son lives in Mexico
yep,
right now. They
yep.
go to Jamaica. He went to Jamaica off the grid to see if he could live there. People
Mhm.
don't, I don't know what they're thinking, but we've got too much on the ball just to sit
Yeah.
here and watch you just destroy everything about us.
Mhm.
And what they're going to be left with, and somebody said this on TikTok, what you're going to be left with is all of the, I don't want to call them lower class, but lower income
Yeah.
blacks who don't have the ability to go anywhere or do anything because they don't have the resources. But the people that have the ability are leaving
Yeah.
slowly but surely.
I feel like people with the knowledge are leaving because you can't stay around and be tolerable for this crap anymore. Like I can't tolerate it. I don't want to tolerate it. I've gone other places. I know the United States is is not the end all be all because they've told you so many times over and over how other countries are this and other countries, and they'll show you on TV, and then you get there and you're like, but I thought y'all, and they're like, no.
And now they're attacking us on, so it's one thing when it's just this or just
Mhm.
that, but now everywhere we turn. But anyway, that was our time, Tora. All right. So issue number 2 is the black guy walking around China with his shirt off,
Oh
and
my.
everybody on there talking about how he's a god and all this sort of stuff.
And I think that is women being sexual. And I thought when I saw it, I just screamed because I was just like, you're embarrassing me. You know, you're walking around, you don't have an attitude, but you have an attitude, you know, from the way I'm looking at you walk around like, yeah, that's right. You know, this is like, no, you're making it bad for me who want to go there one day. And I don't need that to be my introduction that this is what we are as black people because we're not. Like I respect your culture. I respect the fact that you don't drop down and twerk in the middle of the road. Like I just want you to stop. Like you don't have to always say I'm a god and I make my presence. Yes, you are, but you don't have to be stripped down naked to prove that. You know, you
Because
can
how
do it.
handsome is a guy? Sean Wayans, who I always thought was very attractive, and he had a very nice physique, and he will always wear those tight turtlenecks that
Uh-huh,
fit his
uh-huh,
body. You
uh-huh.
don't have to be naked to look good.
No,
And the question I
no,
told you, I typed on there when I saw it, I typed why. Nobody else is walking around with their shirt off.
no. And
Why
then
are
and
you
he
doing
said,
that?
look how, and then comments if you read, they're like, look how they're looking at you. People, everybody thinks that we're the only country that has common sense. Other people look at you with the same way we can look at you. Like, what are you doing? Why are
Right,
you walking around like this? This isn't like my wife and kids are here. You think this is appropriate? No, we don't have that. We don't do that. We don't
right.
act like this. Like we're staring at you for all the other reasons you might not even think. Maybe
Because
if you
even the men were turned around. You see that couple, the
like
man
look at
and
this
the woman
food.
turned around like you're not in the park in the United States where everybody's playing soccer with their shirt
You're
off
not
or
in Muscle Beach
volleyball.
in California where
Yeah.
everybody does stuff like you're in a country that has culture still, and their culture is still limited to respect of I mean, yeah, of course we know they have a dictatorship. Okay, we know that, but I'm talking about their culture. It's still respectable. You're not allowed to you know do some of the things we see in the United States on the street. You're like,
I
you
mean, but
know,
truthfully, that's our culture now, unfortunately. But this is not their culture. When you go somewhere, if you notice, Tora, in a number of my videos from the Gambia, I had on a long skirt. I have skirts. Now here, I put on some booty shorts and a
right.
t-shirt or whatever, because that's how we dress here when it's 85 degrees, but that's not how they dress there.
And they
So
tried to do that over there and they shut it down.
I've never seen them try it.
In Africa, these women went over there. Well, they were probably from Africa, but came here, got Americanized, tried to go back home, and they like,
Which country?
I want to say it was Ghana, maybe. Um,
Because Ghana is less uptight than the Gambia, but the
mhm,
Gambia is a Muslim country. And so you still see, I saw a couple young girls with the only the slit showing. I don't advocate that, but you can do what you want with your body. But you don't go to a place where they wear the hijabs and all that and just started wearing mini skirts, and I am
I
known for
just think
mini
it's
skirts, and
classist.
I didn't wear any.
When you go to Dubai, there are certain places in Dubai, they're not playing it. Cover your butt up or go home. We don't need you or your money. And I respect that. I love places like that that say no. No, you take that little ratchet stuff back to your little ratchet country where
Right.
y'all let anything go, and that's why y'all are out of control with your crime and all the other things that's been going on in your life. I love countries that take a stand.
And it's self-respect too. It's self-respect. If nobody, if you've been in a country for a week and you haven't seen anybody walking around with their shirt off, why are you doing it?
And my thing is,
Self-respect. Do
why are
you
you
have
taking
enough
a stand
respect
like
for
that?
yourself to
Right.
fit into the culture that you, if you don't visit, stay here at home because apparently you can't fit in.
I totally agree with that. And that was almost bringing it back home to Miami. When during the pandemic, they had flights to Miami for $50 round trip. And I know it because my niece was booking it. And I kept thinking, I told her this. I said, you're going to regret, even though it's only $50, you're going to regret you bought that ticket. And she's like, no, I'm not. I can't wait to go. I said, when you go, you're going to have a whole bunch of $50 hoo-hoos going too.
$50 mindsets.
Right. And sure enough, she called me. She said, well, I used my $50 towards Vegas just for Mia's birthday. I was like, see, I tried to tell you because once they showed it on the news of all the $50 hoo-hoos down there, that's what you want to go get. And now they've jacked the prices up. So they won't be down there anymore. Because most people, if you spend $300-$400 round trip to go somewhere in the United States, you are not going to go down there and twerk in the middle of the street.
Let me tell you what I would have done. It was to Miami. I would have taken me a $50 flight to Miami, rented me a rental car, and went up to West Palm Beach or something, something like a 3-hour drive
You
or
think some
something
girls
like
from
that.
the hood and some boys from the hood who've never been anywhere other than their backyard was
No,
able to
I'm saying what I would have done.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to do that.
No,
That's
no.
what
See,
I
you
would
will
have
be
done.
creative and do something like that, but not those guys. Not those people that came down there, went down there and destroyed parts of Miami, and they were heated. They were like, no, 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 no. We do not have this stuff down here. Go home. Like leave, go home, and then they immediately jack those. And I knew that was going to happen, and I was glad because that's my point of life. Is like I want everybody to experience things, but don't ruin it. Don't
Yeah,
ruin
it
it.
sounds like you're having an issue with the lack of decorum and respect that Americans are just displaying, because that's the thing that you're saying about Miami, that you're saying about him. I did feel like he wasn't respecting their culture,
Right.
but I think that is it the case for you? It's just a bigger issue
A
that
culture, a
Americans are
community.
lacking in respect and
It's the whole thing. It's the culture, it's the community. Because I remember Freaknik, and I remember going the first 3 years that it was in existence, and it was beyond fun. And I remember catching the train down there from Annapolis to Amtrak with my girlfriend, and there was a Caucasian woman on the train, and she was like, I just don't understand why they got to come to our city and they got to do this. And I said, ma'am, we're only here for the weekend. You can't tolerate Black people coming down here having a good time, being around our own people for the weekend. Like, it's killing you that much. We're gone the rest of the days. I said 365 days of the year. You know what I mean? The rest of the 362, you can't deal with just this weekend. And she was like, I just don't like the way they play that jungle music. I said, why is it jungle music when you hear it? But when we hear it, it's our culture. It's where we're from. We hear your music, we don't like it either.
I hear that Irish club music, I want to pass out, but you don't see me going off about it. I just turn it off or move on.
And sure enough, this woman cursed it because she said, well, I just can't see anything good coming out of it because certain people are coming that are taken away from it. I didn't see it like that because I was in it. Sure enough, my sister went she went the 4th year or the 5th year. She said she had an okay time. I don't know what happened. But then she wanted to go another year. And I was like, do not go. I said, I've been not hearing good things about it.
They had started raping people
on the
and
street.
just doing all kinds of stuff.
None of those kids were in college. Every last one of them that were getting locked up, they were making sure they let them know. These are not college kids. These are people who from the hood who heard about how much fun it was down here and just ruined it.
And sometimes those people come to prey upon those so-called college kids that they think are so naive or privileged or whatever it is that they may think
I
about.
mean, it was so much, and literally there was never any shootings and anything, but literally that year there was a shooting, and the last year I went, there was a shooting, and then there was a stampede, and I knew I was never going to come back. I was like, this is not the first 2 years we went where it was bananas fun. You were in traffic forever, you were listening to music, you were getting phone numbers, you just had fun, fun, fun. And then that third year, I saw it declining, and then I knew by the fifth year it made the news. It was on the news, and it was so disgusting the way those guys were acting towards those girls. And it was guys, black men acting this way towards black women. And it was horrible. You couldn't blame anybody but the black man for that. And I was so upset. I was like, why would you come here to a place that's supposed to uplift the black community? It was about the college. It was about people
colleges.
successful. Yeah. And they ruined it. So my thing is this, I believe that now, when I saw the guy walking around China like that, I'm like, you're not don't nobody else please try this. He's
I
walking
wasn't
around.
impressed. I looked, I'm not kidding you. I looked in those comments, I scrolled down. Nobody was saying anything that made any sense to me. We're God anywhere we go. And you know what? A lot of
Who
people
are you?
have
Why are
nice
you saying
bodies. This is the thing that people have to realize. A lot of men have phenomenal bodies. So just because you spend some time in the gym and you've worked out does not make you a God. What makes you a God is your mindset. And the fact that you're in a country where the culture doesn't allow that tells me you're not behaving in a godlike manner. Now, I'm not going to say what you are and what you aren't, but you're not behaving in a godlike manner.
I agree with you, because I said that, and that's why when I saw that, I was like, you got to see how much of to me, I saw a fool, because my thing is this: you don't have the first woman on your side. You don't have the first black woman on your side who was walking with you, touring the towns with you, enjoying. You are by yourself, looking like a fool to me. And so I was so happy, because I thought, when I was the only person, because after reading those comments, I'm like, nobody's saying go home, put a shirt on, like,
right.
go home.
I mean, like, I thought to myself, I'm an admirer of a strong physique. So I thought, wow, he has a great body. But even before I thought that, I thought this isn't the place for that. There's a time and a place for everything. You're not at the gym. What are you doing?
You can't even enjoy the great body because you just want him to put on a shirt and still have the great body and say, wow, he has a great body. Like, we can see, who are you trying to impress, first of all? Because as a women and black women, we can see all of that through your clothes.
Right.
We claim the gray sweatpants. Kevin Hart might have said it in his comedy act, but trust me, he got it from a woman.
Everybody, yeah, they wear them on purpose. So
exactly, you got that from a woman.
Sweatpants season, sundress season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my thing is this: we can see what you're working with and what you got through your clothes. You don't have to do all that. So who are you doing it for?
And he had his pants down low enough for you to see, those. And I'm like, what are we doing? And you know what? As crazy as white people, white women, Asian women, all of them are about our men. He didn't have to do that. He could have gone over there fully clothed and they would have been all over
That
him.
was my point. Who was he trying to impress? And he can try to say all he wants. I don't have to try to impress nobody. I was doing this to myself. What about yourself needed that?
Right. Because stay home and get yourself some self-respect. And then, then I just didn't get it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, what is he doing?
And like I said, I couldn't even get to the great body part for the topic of this conversation because I was so disgusted. Like,
well, I'm not gonna lie, I did see the great body. I was like, woo, but not before I said to myself, why is he wearing that? Well, why does he not have a shirt on? And I looked, nobody said that. Nobody raised any concern about him being inappropriate. Like, you don't go to church like that, do you? I'm not equating China with church, but I'm just making the point. There's a time and a place for everything.
Like, go to Egypt where you got
I don't think Egypt is. I don't think they're doing that in Egypt.
But that's what I'm saying. At least you got statues with men who are dressed like that, showing their six pack and standing there looking like they,
He needs to go to Miami. He needs to go to Cali.
Yeah.
He needs to go to maybe even Mexico. You can go to Cancun and do that. You can go to Brazil. Hey, go to Brazil. Yeah, but just don't go to Dubai, China. Don't go to Gambia. Don't, there's certain places that don't want to see
yeah.
that. It's not appropriate.
I agree. And I just think that we as Black people don't need to aid in the buffoonery that's going on. We don't need to help it any further than we already are being depicted, which I am hard on us. I'm hard on my own race because I feel like we have taken such a lackadaisical approach to stuff right now. Like we haven't stood strong. I mean, I'm proud of so many of us. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason we start off, and it's probably going to lead into our next conversation about the prophet. I mean, the brother Polite. Well, he's not a prophet anymore. He took himself right
He was
off.
never a prophet in my eyesight, but I feel you.
Yeah.
I do think we touched on this before. I do think that our culture has taken a nosedive in many respects. And for me, it's not that we internally created that. It is when they took over our music. I remember when my son was a kid and they started making rap videos synonymous with the strip club, and I stopped watching them. I used to watch videos. I've never gotten back to it because I never wanted my toddler to be walking around and seeing women on a pole. And so ever since then, it's 21 now. In those 2 decades, it has just gone straight downhill. And I think it starts with our music. It is also with the TV shows, the Love and Hip Hops.
And parents are afraid to speak up. Like parents are afraid to tell their kids. One time, let me tell you, when I was growing up, a stripper, a prostitute, and
something to be ashamed of.
And a pornographer is something to be ashamed of. Now, oh my God, they got more rights than a pastor and a judge and a lawyer and a doc. Like,
and they've got shows on TV like Beyond the Pole. Look, I don't want to see women in the back of the strip club. But they're ruining our culture.
It's demoralizing our boys, our men. It's making them not even have respect for themselves.
And our women. They don't have, and by the time of that Freaknik you're talking about and the things that you're talking about, it was starting then. There's no respect for our women. And guess what? You destroy your women, you destroy your race. Who you think's having the babies?
Yeah, no, I know.
Who's educating the babies? And you've got to hold up your women. You're only as strong as your women are respected.
And let me tell you,
that was our time. That was our time. So we could go to the next issue, Brother Polite, and the rape charges, revealing pedophilia, really, because it's bigger than rape, because we're talking about a 14-year-old girl.
And I'm not going to lie, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus right now, but I am trying to say, because I know that there are a group of women out there or men that feel like we kick people when they're down. I'm not a kick you when you down type of person, but I do feel like I can have my opinion while you're down, just like you have an opinion about me if I'm down. So my opinion about this would be the choices he made, whether he was guilty or not, the choices leading up to it is sick. And I have to get on so many men in my even personal life. Like, you did things that are considered sick. That's sick to take a 14-year-old to any party, whether her mother said it was okay or not. No, you have to say, no, her butt staying home. Do some homework.
You know what I heard, though? This is the story that I heard. I heard from multiple sources, and I wasn't there, and I don't know if this is true, but a number of people have said that they were traveling. The daughter was traveling with the mother. He was dating the mother. The different sources, some say 1 year, some say 3 years. He had been dating the mother, and they were going to go downstairs to the hotel lobby to dinner. And he said, I'll take her. And the mother said, no, that's okay. And the little girl said, okay, that's okay. I'll go down there with him. And when they went down there to the lobby, they didn't see the other diners. Now, it comes out later that perhaps he didn't take her to the right section because all the other people were there. And we're saying we never saw them come down. So when they didn't see the other people down there, they said, he told her, well, your mom's going to meet us at the after party. As far as I know, it was never any, I'm going to take your daughter to an after party.
Yeah, you don't get to go to plan B. You're supposed to be downstairs waiting. And if you don't
take her back up,
you waiting and bring her back up or sit downstairs and wait for me to come downstairs.
So they said that he said, your mother's going to meet us at the after party. He took her to a club that was closed. Some say he gave her alcohol on the way there. Some don't. And then the club was closed, nobody was there, and he was like, your mother's gonna meet us
See,
at
that's
this
too many
hotel
O's.
over
That's too many
here.
O's.
And but see, she's 14, and that's the thing. It doesn't matter how old you look. You're no match for a 37-year-old man and his
No,
mental
no.
mental
But I
manipulations.
was 14 and I was very, promiscuous. So I know for a fact that I knew what boys were, I knew what men were. And my thing is if she is that type of kid, and she is a kid, and if she is that type of kid, then she was all with whatever he had going on anyway. Because I'm seeing it a lot on social media. These women are dating their daughters' men, and their daughters are dating the women's, their mothers' men. And I'm like, y'all are
But see,
sick.
I don't see
Y'all are
for
sick.
me, when they're saying that the daughters are dating the mothers, husbands, or boyfriends, for me, that's a problem with the men. For
And the
me,
mothers.
if you're well, I'm assuming the mothers don't know. Now, if the mothers know, yeah, that's a problem for the mother. But if you're,
No, when the mother is trying to get with the daughter's boyfriend or dating having
oh
sex
yeah,
with
that's
the
a
daughter's
problem
boyfriend,
too.
yeah, that's
But like with we didn't ever talk about this because I think this came out before our podcast started. But like with did we talk about Jada Smith?
Jada
Dating,
Pinkett
yeah, Jada Pinkett
dating
Smith
her dating her
dating
kid's friend.
August Alsina, which was her son's buddy or her.
I did not even know that. That was news to me when you told me that. I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah, like that is a problem too. That is predatory and it's pedophilia. And even if he's 18, it's still predatory because those people are not able to match wits with a 40-some-year-old woman. The 14-year-old, they're saying that she's a virgin. I don't know if they know that. But the thing is, you're right. You make a valid point. At such time as you go to that lobby and nobody's there, your mother's not meeting you anywhere. Take your butt back up on that elevator and go up to that room to your mom. My kids are not the most worldly, but my daughter at 14 would have not wanted to go down there with him in the first place.
no, my kids
First
wouldn't.
of all, my daughter would have been like, "Nah, I'm gonna wait for mom. I'm gonna wait for you."
My kids are like that with
Yeah,
everybody. Trust me.
yeah. But
Trust me.
if by some chance you got her to the lobby with you and nobody was there, she's not leaving the hotel when she knows I'm upstairs getting
Yep.
dressed. She's gonna be like, "No, we'll meet you there. I'm going back to my mother."
Yeah,
You
and if
know?
there's no other female involved, my kids be like, I'm gonna go back to my room. I'll be back in a minute, and you won't never see them no more. And people have told me this. They be like, your daughter dipped out on me. I'm like, I know, but it's they
But the big
program.
thing, and I'm not into kicking people while they're down either, but if you don't want us to talk about it, don't
Be
do it.
about it. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. And my thing
Be about
is, he has got to be held accountable by that conscious community, by the Black community, by
And he was doing
everybody
so
involved.
well. Like you're doing so well. You got such a good following, good audience, and the things you were
He was
talking about.
wilding out anyway. You noticed that he was into polygamy, parading around these women
I
with.
just found that out, the polygamy part. I was like, dude, are you crazy? But he's not I don't care what people say. You could say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want about me. And I always tell people that. But he's not a beautiful person. So to me, he's not handsome. So you already coming in the gate with issues of and I'm not saying this because of dark skin license. I'm saying it because physically, I don't see anything attractive about you.
But the
So
attraction,
your brain and your intelligence would have stood out first, and hearing you speak, so eloquently about your race and how you're fighting for it would stand out first. But then if you just dumb, you got losses all across because you're
he
physically
was a New
not.
Wabian. He was in the New Wabian, which is with Dr. Malachi York and that whole group up in New York, like the House of
Oh
Consciousness or
yeah, yeah,
something
yeah. I
like
seen him on
that.
the street.
So, some women are attracted to power. And I think that the women that were with him, I actually was at a event in Bed-Stuy some years back, and he was there with one of his wives. I'm not a
His wives.
one of his wives. I'm not a supporter of polygamy, but I don't have a problem with if that's what
I
you're
have
going to
a problem
do.
with all of it. That's
I
something.
don't. If that's what you're going to do, and all the women
How
involved,
insecure to me do you have to be to
if
share
all
something?
the women involved are on board, see, we're not talking about what we're talking about with the culture where the men are cheating and you're sharing men and you don't know it and it's a problem. But if all the women are on board and they want to live in that kind of environment, I'm okay with it.
I don't even
But
want
what
you
I
drinking
did
out my
see
cup.
recently was him parading around with maybe 4 or 5 women dressed in the nature of prostitute, tight clothes, all this. And I'm like, what kind of what kind of consciousness is that? You're not uplifting our race, you're degrading it. And
Right.
you're rolling down in the gutter with the Love and Hip Hop crew. Not that all, I mean, I shouldn't say that, but there is an element on that show that's really gutter. And I don't know. I just think that we have to hold them accountable. We have to make it clear in our community that 37-year-old men, even if she was a willing participant,
Or
it's
women. We
not
can say women
okay.
too. We can say,
Yeah, it's not okay you're exactly right. It's not okay to be having intercourse of any nature with a 14-year-old of the
and for
opposite sex.
years, people have been like, oh, when a man dates a 19-year-old and he's 40 and he's 30.
It's not okay to me.
I mean, because one of the guy from the Kardashians, he was dating a 19-year-old.
Right, Scott Disick.
Scott Disick
Was dating, was it Lionel Richie's daughter? No, it was somebody else.
and then they broke up, and then he started dating
Was his
this other
younger.
celebrity daughter. But my point is this: my daughters, I hope they're smart enough to know, for their age, you bring a 40-year-old man or 30-year-old man in here, he's getting shut down by your entire family for the simple fact my brothers and me are going to look at him as a pedophile. I don't care what you think or what you say. His brain and your brain can never be on the same.
That's the problem I have with it. See, I was not, I mean, obviously you were too, but I remember being 19 years old. My daughter is about to turn 19. She's intelligent, all that. I'm not taking anything away from her, but there's no way you are at a stage where you can match up with a man who's been in this world for 40 years or 50 years with all that experience and knowledge and manipulation. You just can't relate to him on his level. So any relationship is unbalanced and problematic. And I'm not for it. And you know me, I'm gonna let you live your life. Well, that's the one area where you're gonna have a problem out of me.
You're gonna have a problem.
And you probably gonna have he's gonna have a bigger problem because everything ain't for the internet. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
Everything ain't for the internet, but he's gonna really have a problem,
And my thing is this: is if he's of sound mind and he thinks it's okay to date you, meaning he doesn't have any chromosomes missing or anything, then that means he's sick.
Something's wrong with him.
Something's wrong with him, because my thing is it's a totally different thing if he's got some glitches going on in his brain and he's never really been the mature
It's still
person.
unacceptable, but it's different.
It's different. I mean, if this dude is partially retarded, partially autistic, partially, Asperger's, whatever glitch or special development he has, I didn't say glitch, yes I did, but anyway, partial development, what he has, we can accept the fact that they aren't developmentally there yet. We
have to explain to him why our offspring of this age is not a suitable mate, and you will not be continuing with this relationship.
And that means something wrong with my child for the simple fact, what do you see in this person who is mentally delayed? Girl, bye. We're not doing that.
You know what a bigger issue is? Now, I was saying that he was from the House of Consciousness or whatever that is up there, this whole movement, and it started with Malachi York. Malachi York is now doing a 135-year term in prison for pedophilia with over 100 kids. And also, Africa,
like that. Is that true?
Yeah, and Africa Bambaataa was up there, and he has been accused. I don't know if he's a part of their group, but
he's being accused now.
Well, it's been going on for years. So my question is, first of all, I have a problem with what Polite has done, but secondly, I have a question about the whole culture up there and whether it needs to be dismantled and what we need to do about it, because we need to let them know that pedophilia is not okay. Was Brother Polite molested and now he's doing what he experienced? I don't know, but it's got to come to an end. It's got.
I believe that's what triggers it, though. I believe that if he was, that's why he's a sick dude and he's doing sick things. Because my thing is this: there is nothing. Like I said, I was young. I know what I was, and I knew that guys way older than me used to say, I'm gonna be ready. You're gonna be ready when you get.
I hated that.
I did too.
I used to yell out, because you know how pervs are,
Of
and you
course.
walking down the street and they blowing their horn, and I used to yell out, "You're old enough to be my grandfather." And so
I
I
said
don't
the same
want no.
thing.
I'm older now. I still don't want an old man. I'm sorry, miss me
No.
with all of that.
And let me tell you, there is still knowledge out there because when we were in California, my daughters and I were walk. Well, of course, they didn't want to walk with me, even though I'm with them.
Are
They're
you
walking.
kidding?
No, I would
Your
crash
kids don't do that.
their style. They use me to stop people. Okay, go up to this person, ask, where's everybody hanging out? But they will
My
not.
kids don't do that.
Oh my God, yes, they use me for
Your
everything.
girls are so hilarious.
You should see what they put their mother through. They would walk ahead and they would be like, say, a group of guys that would be trying to talk to them. And then I would walk up to the group and they would be like, "Who's this?" And they were like, "My mom." They'd be like, "That's your mom?" They'd be like, "Yeah." Their whole demeanor would change. They would become, "Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am." And I would be like telling me and Victoria, "Do you see what I was trying to show you?" They looked at me and saw that I wasn't playing with them. They immediately knew when I walked up to the circle, like, "Oh, she's that mother." Yeah, I'm
Because
her.
a different mother,
Yeah.
they would keep it going. That different mother with, and
Oh,
now I do wear booty shorts, but I still
mhm.
look classy. But
Of
a
course.
different mother with a different mindset and a
Yep.
different energy,
Yep.
they would have kept
Let me
right on
tell you,
with the
it was, and
same old
we used
BS.
to hang out late because we were on, we was on the East Coast time zone. So
Oh,
we
right.
used to hang out really late. We would walk to this 24-hour kitchen and eat like 3 o'clock in the morning over there. And so you would have certain people that were out on the street and guys. And let me tell you, one guy pulled up and he had a G-Wagon, a black G-Wagon. They were rappers. And they were like, "Where y'all going? Where y'all going?" And so me and Victoria just pointed to me. They was like, "Who's that?" And they were like, "Our mom." And they was like, "Oh, no, y'all go ahead. Y'all, good night. Good night, mom." I was like, "Yeah, good night." That was another episode. And I kept telling them that. It was like, "Ma, you just look scary. If you take on that scary face," I was like, "It has nothing. I do not look scary." People can see mothers that just didn't raise their kids like that and ain't playing it, and mothers who are out here with their kids to help play that game. They can
But
clearly see
let's twist that again too. What if those men could have been some men with enough respect for your daughters to meet a rapper that they might want to date or something?
yeah.
But we know the kinds
But
of
they
things
don't want
that
to go through
happen
us, not at 3 o'clock in the morning. They don't want to go through mom. They
because
think
we
it's,
know the kinds of things that are happening when they
yeah.
bring them back to that house or to that hotel room
Mhm.
or whatever is nothing nice. But what just imagine if they had respect for women and were really looking for somebody that they could kick it with as opposed to manipulate or abuse or whatever.
And trust me when I tell you, those type of guys don't want to put in the time that it's going to take when you see a mother like me right behind her daughters. They don't want to put. That's not what that. It might happen in another day. Me, I've seen guys like respectful guys come up to my children and try to talk to them when I'm around, but it's a whole different game. So,
It's
like I
a
was
whole
saying, with
different
the brother
energy.
polite, he obviously was dating a woman that was with the smoke because if he couldn't have been dating me because he would have never even thought to do that to my
And
children.
the question is, if he had been dating her for a year or 3 years,
Mhm.
whatever the case may be, what has been going on
What
that
is-
led up to this ultimate act? Because I don't
Okay.
think that you just start from having total respect for the little girl to trying to make her give you oral sex. I just don't think you jump from
That
there
to
to
me blew my mind. I just heard that part of it, the oral sex part, that he woke her up trying to get that from her.
and her mouth was swollen.
And my thing is this: you have a whole grown woman that you're dating, and you don't think that you need to get it from somebody who don't want it and can't give it to you.
Because
That
that's pedophilia, that's a perverted mind. And also, what I always tell my children too is that rape is a crime of power, not sex. When people committing rape,
Mhm,
most of those people, like say we were talking about Mr. Cow,
mhm.
which our time is up, so we're gonna move on. But Mr. Cow, who used to be in Master P's camp,
Of
went
course.
to jail twice for rape. Now you and I know he was at the top of his game the
I
first
don't know
time.
about one. He went to jail.
When again, he was at the top of his game the first time. Master P wasn't like these other jive people. He was paying them money, getting them houses in their name. So he had plenty of income. There were thousands of women that would have dropped their panties at the sight of him. But you want to go rape somebody because rape is not about sex. Rape is about power. But we could talk about that another time because, dear, our time is up. Moving on to our last and final topic is this crazy thing that I keep seeing on the TikTok about the white X Factor winner who reveals this secret religion. And he shows in this 5 hour long video that the front for it is Freemasonry.
Mhm.
But at the top of the pyramid, unbeknownst to most of the rank and file members, is Satanism. And that the whole thing is about the advancement of Satanism.
Mhm.
And that thing is just blowing my mind.
So really quick, you said X Factor winner. X Factor was a contest that was on TV that you could show your talent, and if you win, then you go on to get this superpower behind you that can, like, you have PRs and that can handle your career. You have a manager, an agent.
Like
So
American Idol was.
yeah, so it's like
But
American Idol.
X Factor is foreign, right? Because he didn't sound,
Well,
he
they have an
didn't
X
sound
Factor
American.
here too. So they have pretty much everywhere. They have like
Oh,
X
okay.
Factor Brazil, X Factor United States, UK X Factor.
But
So they have,
I've never seen it.
right.
I've never seen it, but he was sounding maybe Australian, or
Mhm.
he's not American, and I don't think he's British, but he's European, I would
Absolutely.
say.
So and I believe it was another like Simon Cowell. So it's almost like the guy who does America's Got Talent, and also the other one, American
American Idol.
Idol. Right. So
Mhm.
it's more so like that in a contest. So this guy won this contest, and now he's releasing some secrets he's saying
Oh,
about.
he won the contest and got into the music industry.
And through the music industry, I'm assuming from what little bit I was able to gather, just for be able to have a great discussion about this, because I was interested in this, is that he's saying once he got to a certain level, he was offered, do you want to go all the way Michael Jackson, or do you want to just stay low key and be the backup singer to, you know, Mariah Carey?
But
You know
in
what
the
I'm saying?
video, he's saying that he's breaking his vow
Right,
by saying this. So
right,
he must have said, yes, I want to do it.
right.
And then, like Eminem and so many other people
But people have been
realized
saying
it's
this.
way more than they bargained for.
People have been saying this, and they would, like, I would tell everyone about the cartoon. There was a cartoon they used to play in my elementary school about the girl who sold her soul so she could be able to sing. And I just known about this. And of course, you know about the Netflix, about the guy who couldn't play guitar and then came back after selling his
Like
soul.
the big blue Mississippi,
Yeah.
I
So
forgot his name,
this
Robert Johnson or something
something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
But this tale has been going on from the beginning of time, and it can be dismissed as people who can't make it, never
Do
made
you
it.
not believe it? You don't believe it, Tora?
Um, the reason why I don't wholeheartedly believe it, because this is the thing, okay? I believe, just like fraternities, sororities, clubs, gangs, I believe it would be naive for me to believe that they wasn't, whatever you want to call this organization that might happen in the industry. It'd be naive for me to believe that there is none. That you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Okay, it's just naive for me to believe that that's not in the industry also. However, I do not believe that it's something that is unwanted. I believe that if I got into this business and I was approached by a group of people, I'm talking about Fortune 500 company,
Talking
Oprah.
about top of the top.
Yeah, people in the industry who are making a name for themselves. Stephen King, and anybody. Just people at the top of this pyramid of the industry of entertainment was approached to me. I walk in the room and they say, "Do you want to be the greatest?" And if you do, you have to take an oath, because we are all in this oath together. You don't have to. You can go away and make it on your own, whatever. And I'm like, you mean tell me I can skip the line and I can get all of this, and I will never get pulled over by the police, and I'll be able to get any house I
I
dream
mean,
of.
unless you're
All
trying to teach
I gotta
you a
do,
lesson, because they'll put
yeah,
you to jail like they did Lil Wayne and T.I. And I mean, if you get out of line, you're going to get
that's my
disciplined.
point. That's my point. If they're in it, or if they're not in it, I don't know if they are or aren't, but if they're in it, then I guess you get a whooping if you don't follow suit. And if you're not in it, then they're going to make it hard on you to make you say, "See, that's why I told you join. See, that's why I told you join. You wouldn't even have this to worry about." So
So you don't believe the Satanism part and the Freemasonry part? You
I don't
think
believe the
it's just
Satan part. And the reason why I don't believe the Satan part, because from what I've been hearing for so many years, is that our history was told backwards. Our history was told that there's a figure called God, that we all should worship and believe in, but Satan was the real person who we should have feared, respect, and love. So my thing is this: I can't believe that they are saying we love and we support Satan, and we promote Satan, and that's supposed to be the good, from where they're standing from. I just can't believe that. That would not make sense to me. So if our history was told backwards, that the good is really bad and the bad is really good, you got trillions of people believing in God and thinking God is the end all be all. But then you got this handful of people in the industry who are making it, and you wondering, how did they make it? How did they
But
get there?
it's not a handful.
Believing in the right God. I just can't believe that. That's
It's
just
not a handful. In that 5-hour video, the number of people.
No. I know it's not a handful, but I'm talking
The
about
number of people he showed was astonishing. But I will say this to you: I do believe something. There is something. I've always heard it. When the stars start breaking down, you see Kanye on stage saying, "I sold my soul to the devil." You see Eminem talk.
Katy Perry said it too. She said
Katy Perry said it. You see Eminem afraid to look in mirrors. You hear them. I think that either people are so desperate for fame or so desperate for riches or whatever it is that they make this bargain. You heard the thing with Bob Dylan.
He
interview saying, "I made this bargain with the commander in chief on this earth and in other realms." I do think it's true, but there's something about that video that is a problem for me.
Which one?
Number one is when I turned the video of this X Factor guy, it's a 5-hour
like this, their face and this and all this.
And hidden hand and the discipline and all of that. One of the problems, one you hit on, the 666, I've been taught is the number for melanin.
Yep.
For melanin.
So it is though. That's a fact. You can look that up.
That's what I've been taught. That's what I have learned. So I do have that problem with it. And the bigger problem I have, because I actually turned on to YouTube and started watching it, and it has been up for more than 3 months with more than 1 million views. YouTube, Torah, that kicked off young Pharaoh, that kicked off Rizza Islam, that's banning people, it's all on TikTok, nobody's banned. I mean, like, somehow somebody somewhere wants us to see this. Now, I don't know where the truth versus the lie falls in, but it's just highly suspicious to me that this will be floating around for so long without any censoring. Something's not right.
Reporting it as fake and false. No one's reporting this as fake and false, right?
No one's reporting it. They're not banning it. They're not taking down his video. He's still alive.
That video has been around for a long time. It's gotten longer because I saw it 20 years ago almost.
Oh, it's been out for more than 20 years? No, X Factor wasn't out 20 years ago.
No, X Factor's been out for over 15 some years, but it's getting
because American Idol's been out a long time. I didn't watch that stuff, but I did watch that first season with Fantasia, and then the one with Ruben Stuttered or whatever. It's a long time ago, actually.
Long time ago, but that video it's gotten longer. Like the more years go on, they keep adding people onto it. But I saw that video.
Many people. Yeah. That got me too. I will say, like, I am already aware he's not a little bit preaching to the choir, not the Freemasonry Satanism part, but I know that there's dark industry in the entertainment industry. There's dark energy, I meant to say, and that you have to subscribe to it. Anybody we know that's a household name is a part of that. And I talk to my kids about that because they're in entertainment. You don't get to that there are levels you can go to, but you don't get to that top level without being a part of whatever it is that they're doing in that industry. But it's everybody.
I just know so many people in the industry, and none of them have. I haven't.
They can't tell you. It's a secret society.
No, what I'm saying is, like, I've been in the industry and I've never subscribed to it. My children are in it. My son is definitely in it. My son is
talking Will Smith, Jake Gyllenhaal, Madonna. We're talking Stephen King. We're talking Seal. We're talking David Bowie. We're talking the people at the top. And that's what I tell my kids. You can go up, you can make a good amount of money and have a phenomenal life without being a part of that. But if you want to be, I'm known by one name, I'm a household name, everywhere you look is me, You got to do something. It's
And
too many
I
stars have
just
talked
believe
about
that it's an I do believe there's an organization because, like I said, it's just like if you have, the sororities and the fraternities,
it.
they're
I'm in a sorority, and we do have our secrets.
right.
We do
You
have
have
our
your
secrets.
secrets, but you also are supposed to look out for those who came before.
True.
And
True.
my
And
thing
you give
is,
them a little bit more of a pass. Somebody drives me crazy, and I still will find myself reaching out to her or responding to her because she, after all, is my sorority member, and I
exactly.
gotta,
Your sister. She's
yes,
supposed to be your
she is.
sorority sister. So when you see a police officer and they call it the Fraternal Order of Men, that
Of
lets
police,
you
the
know.
Fraternal Order Police.
It started out the Fraternal Order of Men before they became the police. So that
Oh, it's called the
the police
FOP
got
now.
the title once they became patrol officers and had to patrol slaves and all this, but it used to be Fraternal Order of Men, and then they was like that sounds like anybody can come. So then
Right.
it was like, well, now we have to change it to whoever's policing the slaves, which was the police, which was what they were created for. So then the Fraternal Order became that organization. So you would see all these years these police officers doing all this stuff and nobody had a problem with it because it was so many people involved in that fraternity.
I just have to say this, and then I'm just going to let you finish. But I would be remiss if I didn't say right here, truthfully, I do believe that the industry is controlled by dark energy.
Mhm.
That I don't know if they're worshiping Lucifer, Satan, all of that because of the 666 or something, but it's something not right with it. And the reason you can tell is because you can tell what kind of tree it is by the fruit on the tree.
It
And
bears.
all of the music and the television shows and the movies, it is all going left to hell in a handbasket. And so I know something's wrong with that industry. Now, I don't know that what this guy is
I think
saying is
something's
what
wrong
the
with the
problem
people.
is.
I think something's wrong with the people.
No, it's the people that run it. It's the people that,
Well,
because
see,
remember
the
how
people who run it don't live forever. So my thing is this: when people die and people take over, it's time you can change. You can change that path. You can change that energy. You can change as a person. You don't have to keep that same motto around. So my thing is this: if Harvey Weinstein is locked up for doing all the stuff he did, that
oh,
place
you
has been
just
taken.
proved my point. Harvey Weinstein, they knew that for years.
That's
Those
my
little
point.
Corey and Corey were being molested. They
Right.
knew that for
Yep.
years. We know about MK Ultra and mind control. Something is wrong with those people. And you know what? When Bob Dylan said the chief commander on this earth and other realms, those entities in other realms do live forever. Now I know that so many people are like, "Whoa, Kim, you are a conspiracy theorist," but something, even the Bible tells you that Satan is the God of this world. Now, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I'm saying that there's something dark that is controlling them and leading them down the wrong path.
Now
And I think that when
we
people
would be
die,
foolish
they are
not to believe.
replaced with other people who continue to promote the agenda. Something's wrong in Hollywood.
But there's an energy that's positive and negative on this earth, period.
True.
And so if
That's
you're
true.
going to, if not you, but people are going to tap into that negative energy, it's going to manifest and produce more negativity. But
Right.
you can also shut it down and you can also just focus on good, harmonious, and
Well,
great
where
things.
is that? Tell me the TV
So there
show, the
has to be.
song, the movie, any part of the entertainment industry
Mhm.
where there's some positivity, because I'm missing it.
So that means there has to be a gardener that is willing to cultivate the seed of negativity and negative energy. And that's all I'm saying, because if there isn't, it can't grow. You cannot sit there and cultivate something and destroy it at the same time. It has to be nurtured and put into a pot of more than just that. Soil represents so many other negative people that are willing to be in that pot with that seed to make it grow, of that bear that fruit and that tree that's going to grow. Because you put me in that soil, right? You say to me right now, okay, Tori, you got to sacrifice somebody, and Tori, you have
Yeah,
to.
do you believe that part? It does appear that they sacrifice people, that they feed off that energy, that there's the adrenochrome. All that stuff appears to be true when you really look at it.
If you stand back, like they say, you have to stand back to see the full view of the elephant. If you stand back and you look at that, you can easily dismiss fame, fortune, and all of that with that little quick notion and saying it's a negative energy. You submit it to it, and now you're gonna have all abundance of
I
life.
don't
So
dismiss that, and I don't deny their talent and their perseverance. I'm
Mhm.
not using that to denigrate what the people in the industry are bringing to the table.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, all I'm really saying is, I believe there's something wrong, but I don't know is what he's saying, and I really have a
Well, let's take
problem
this
with
to
how
California.
long his video is up. I know that if it was really true, it would have been taken off. They would be keep reposting it saying this got taken down, but I'm nobody's saying that. It's been up. It's been up for
Well,
a
let's
long time.
take this interview because I would love to talk more about this. Let's take it to the heartland of California, LA, and let's do interviews and let's find out how many other people believe that there's a dark force
Do
that
we have some
drives.
people to interview? I don't know if he come on here though, but do you have some people that will come on here and talk about it?
I mean, I can ask my friends who I
Let's
have
do
in
it.
the industry, see if
Let's
they're
do
willing
it. I
to
would
talk
love
about
to.
it.
I would love to. I have a couple people I know that are or were in the industry, but they're the type I cannot see them agreeing to come on here. I can't
Okay.
see it. They
And
won't.
talk about
One
that.
I know for a fact won't do it.
Mhm.
And she used to be in the Will Smith camp. But you know somebody in Will Smith camp, right?
I
That
know
broke
a
their
lot.
leg or arm or something.
I
Is
know a
that
lot.
you?
I know a lot of people in the
Oh,
industry.
Torah, set it up. You know I'm game. It would be great.
I know a lot of people, but I think we should take a trip to LA and just start talking to
Oh,
people.
well, girl, I'm game. Come on.
I really
Pick a
do because
date. Any
I
date.
wanted Victoria to start interviewing homeless people and ask them how did they become homeless. Somebody already just did it recently, which I told her she would have been the first because there's so
You
many
do it
people there.
again and nobody gonna do it the way she does it. So
Exactly. It's
yeah,
so many people there that are homeless, and everybody came with the same dream. And my thing is, how do you end up here?
industry.
How do you not
Yeah.
go back home and say, screw this shit, I'll start over again? So my thing is I think if we get there and we hear how certain things happen, I
Girl,
think
you know I love to travel. Let's go. Let's
I'm
do
ready.
it. But you know our time is up. I enjoyed this one, and I do think that it's something we should continue because it's a big issue and
It
it
is.
looms large in our society.
Right.
So, any last words you want to add before we close out?
Well, I just can't wait for us to elevate our podcast and start like going mobile with it and like actually getting people to see if we can get people, just regular people on the street, to start answering some everyday questions that we have to, bring
Do
people.
that here too, actually. There's no reason we're not doing that in the DMV on
Yeah,
some of our topics. So you
I
just
would
brought
love
up a new idea that we'll talk about and see how we can implement. Great idea. Well, folks, as always, we're so happy you took the time to join us. Thank you for joining us tonight.
absolutely. You all have to come back and kick it with Kimm and Torra and join us. You want to like, subscribe, comment, and make sure you get other people to come in and join so we can have this discussion about life, freedom, happiness, and the pursuit of all that other stuff.
Absolutely. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.